Good evening, everybody. This is a Daily Recall on May 9th, 2026. Hope everybody's having a nice Saturday evening. Not a lot going on today. Trying to wait for that spring weather. It keeps being like one day and then shitty the next 6 days or something. So the big story today, I guess, is this. It's a funny story. Here it is. It's this liberal guy. It's a white liberal dude who really loved immigration and promoted immigration, and he was running for the liberal nomination in Scarborough for the provincial riding, and he was going to run for the liberal leadership. So he was going to win this nomination, and then run for the leadership of the Liberal Party, and then run against Doug Ford in the election, and he lost. He lost the nomination to some Bangladeshi dude or whatever, and now there's all like it's very embarrassing, but it's funny because it's like the ones you supported flooding Canada into, like you supported flooding Canada with all these people, now they took his job. It's kind of funny. It's kind of ironic. So we'll look at that and other stuff. And the reason it's important is because it's funny, because the white liberal elites have no problem giving our jobs away, flooding the labor market, the housing market. But when it affects them, it's like a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And I'm sure they're going to notice, these elites, what happened to Nate. So here is the summary. Nate Erskine Smith. I don't like this guy at all. He's a loser. I don't think he would have beat Doug Ford, to be honest. He's got the personality of like wet roll of toilet paper. But anyway, Nate Erskine Smith loses Ontario Liberal nomination by 19 votes. Business owner. This guy owned Domino's Pizzas franchises, I guess. Business owner Hafiz, a Domino's Pizza franchisee who immigrated from Bangladesh. He won the Scarborough Southwest nomination over federal MP. He's a federal MP too. Like, he's not just a nobody. A white liberal federal MP losing his job to a Bangladeshi. It's hilarious. It's freaking hilarious. Okay. Over federal MP Erskine Smith in a ranked ballot vote with over 1,400 participants. Erskine Smith, backed by Prime Minister Mark Carney and eyeing a leadership run against Premier Doug Ford, faced a pre-vote packed by rivals. I don't know what that means. A pre-vote packed by rivals. And so basically they were trying to get him to beat him. They were conspiring to beat him or coordinating, and hinted at irregularities like missing ID among voters. The riding's by-election, vacant since NDP MPP Dolly Begum's February 26 resignation, awaits a date by early September as the party calls for unity. Okay, I don't care about the Ontario Liberal Party. I don't think they have anybody coming out to bring them out of the wilderness. I can't stand them. I just think it's funny because this guy lost to a Bangladeshi, and like the federal conservatives, the provincial liberals allow anybody to vote, like anybody to get a liberal membership. So temporary worker. Here I did it. I asked. Ontario Liberal Party allows non-citizens, including temporary residents such as international students and work visa holders, to vote in nomination elections, provided they meet basic membership criteria. So obviously this is what happened. They got all the Bangladeshis on a bus and said, "You're voting. Come vote for this Domino's pizza guy." Now Nate's like, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't think the vote was fair, all this, whatever. But this is what you wanted, buddy. Nate. You wanted this. So here's some reaction. High-profile Liberal MP that was endorsed by Mark Carney just lost to an unknown Bangladeshi national who was living in a different city a year ago and was spotted handing out sample ballots to members entirely in Bengali for an Ontario Liberal Party nomination race. So he was handing out flyers to Bangladeshis to vote, how to vote. They don't know anything. They just read the paper and it says vote. Take that in. Okay, here it is. Liberal Party of Ontario members are being given the sample ballots in Bengali with instructions to vote for the Bangladeshi candidate at the Scarborough Southwest nomination contest. No further comment necessary. So they're basically telling them how to vote. That's Nate and then his opponents who all conspired against him. So he supported them coming to Canada, and they all conspired against him to beat him. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And I said it might be a silver lining into this, because once white liberal progressive dudes like this guy start losing their jobs to Indians and others from the Indian subcontinent, then maybe they'll like get on the bandwagon of nationalism, and because the liberals will, whatever's good for them, they'll go for. So they brought in these voters from Bangladesh and India because they thought, oh, they'll vote liberal. And you're right, they will vote liberal, just not for you, for a Bangladeshi liberal or an Indian liberal. And I think maybe if they start to realize that, they'll kind of say, hey, maybe importing 10, 20 million people from the Indian subcontinent wasn't such a good idea. I include Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Bangladesh is a mess. They have like 200 and something million people in Bangladesh. I can't believe it. Have you ever heard of anybody visiting Bangladesh? No. But they won the nomination. They beat Nate. It's hilarious. Let's listen to this guy.
I want to congratulate the successful candidate who will represent Scarborough Southwest, Hassanal Hafiz.
Look at that. Ah! That's hilarious.
What a great demonstration today of democracy.
Oh, yeah.
But not only democracy, this is a message
Indian democracy.
to Mr. Ford for all the crooked nonsense that's been going on at Queen's Park. Thanks to you for coming out and saying enough is enough. I would like to congratulate all of the candidates who
I'm guessing this is the guy.
and to say that they want to represent this riding.
Right on! Right on!
Thank you for all the work that you have done, and I want to congratulate the successful candidate who will represent Scarborough Southwest.
Okay, it's not him.
Hassanal Hafiz.
Okay, sorry. I don't know who this guy is. He's a nobody, but apparently there he is. Is that him? Where is he? Look at this. Anyway. I thought that was him. It's hilarious. There's Nate. Nate Erskine Smith in a rainy scrum says he needs to do a full debrief with his team about the voting process. Said that those in the room told him they had never seen anything like it. Says he wants to talk to his team to see if there's legitimate reason to challenge. Look at this weak.
Get advice from the team as to what they saw happen there. I've spoken to a few scrutineers already who said they've never seen anything like it, and it's unreal.
He looks like he's going to cry.
I've never seen anything like it. I need to do a full debrief with the team.
Super vague.
I wasn't in the room. I was shaking hands, and
So all they told you was we've never seen anything like it, and didn't tell you.
they said they've never seen anything like it. There were at one table, it was 50% of the people that had ID issues, saying they lost driver's license, they just moved in the area. So look, I don't know.
This is
specifically speculate. I got no idea.
What about the leadership, though? You have.
like he's crying because he lost, but this has been going on at all. The Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, provincial parties, federal parties, is ethnic voters who aren't even Canadian but vote in the nomination They get bussed in, told who to vote for, and whatever. And this has been going on for a long time. So the only reason is because it didn't come out in his favor. They thought they'd be in awe of this federal MP. The only reason it didn't come in his favor, but now he's crying about it. They shouldn't be. There should be a law that you can't vote in party nominations if you're not a Canadian citizen. Not even permanent resident, Canadian citizen. Because it's not just a private party, it's the party has the best chance of getting in, like Liberal or Conservative. If you get the nomination, it's a valuable thing for your opportunity. It's a valuable opportunity. It's not, and it shouldn't be decided by non-Canadians. So he got punked.
Any thoughts?
Game as to what comes next in terms of, it was obviously very close, and we'll see. I don't know.
Can you say this?
He should have been on top of this, though. He thought it was in the bag.
So are you concerned about the final results? Like, you don't think this is necessarily the legitimate
He looks like he's
result
ready
of
to cry.
this nomination?
I would like to hear from every single person who's in that room on our team to understand what took place and what their feeling is. And if
You lost your job to an Indian.
obviously, given everything we've seen,
Bangladeshi Indian, they're all the same.
there's some frustrations along the way.
Really,
with
it's
members and
India was all that, and then they broke it up a little bit. So it's easier just to calm down.
articulate concerns. I honestly, I have to do a full debrief with them before I.
He's got to go home and cry now.
Before I decide if I really consider the outcome fair.
He's got no charisma, this guy, anyway. But the big point is, what this highlights is, even these elite guys are losing their jobs to Indians. That's the one point. The second is nomination voting is crooked as hell, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Like, they own some ridings. Like, some ridings in Canada, you'll never get a non-Indian as the nominee or as the candidate. They own the riding, and it's happening more and more. All right, let's go to the beginning for that's the big story today, I guess. We got another few other little tidbits. So, guys like Nate shouldn't be. They're not leaders. They're just traitors. And like, he supported this mass immigration, and now he lost his job. All right, let's start the day. And we don't have any good opposition. Pierre's useless. Totally useless. Remember when Pierre Poilievre fed his supporters post-nationalist slop 14 months ago, and they just ate it up? Yeah, I remember.
We are all Canadians.
I hate this.
Canadians
He said this. He said this during. Sorry.
Nationalism not based on blood.
He said this during the campaign all the time, not just once, like the whole time. And it's like, he sounds like Justin Trudeau.
Lines, birthplace, or back.
Hold on.
Ours is a nationalism not based on bloodlines,
No.
birthplace, or background. Whether your name is Martin or Mohammed, Poilievre or Patel, that anyone from anywhere can do anything.
Yeah.
We will treat all our people, regardless of their race, as Canadian and Canadian first, with no hyphens.
So he'll get the Nate Erskine treatment, Pierre, if he's not careful.
We are all Canadians and Canadians first. What binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone from anywhere can do anything.
Oh.
Whether your name is Martin or Mohammed, Poilievre or Patel. Ours is a nationalism not based on
Okay, let's
bloodlines,
repeat.
birthplace, or background. We are all Canadians and Canadians first.
So yeah,
Southwest.
Ours is
That-
a nationalism not based on
he's not going to save nothing, Pierre. I don't see anybody in Canada right now coming out of the. Here's another Pierre's predecessor, Aaron O'Toole, just as bad or worse. Remember when Aaron O'Toole, Conservative Party leader, encouraged everyone to get the COVID shot? He promoted the AstraZeneca shot, which was quickly withdrawn from the market due to the risk of blood clots. I remember they were promoting that big time in Ontario. I didn't get any of it, so that's good. Look at this weak and pathetic during COVID.
So Rebecca and I got our AstraZeneca vaccines today.
Look at her
courtesy
stupid wife.
of our amazing doctor, Dr.
Smiling like a dummy.
And the Rito family health team. It's amazing. The doctors, pharmacists, nurses, and their kids volunteering here in a church parking lot to vaccinate hundreds of people. That's how we turn the corner in COVID-19. Vaccines in arms. Let's use rapid tests. Let's wear our masks.
Look at him
Let's
with this
follow
mask
social
on in his car.
We will get through this. This is a tough
Was it?
third
Does he got a
wave.
rainbow
You
mask?
can get your vaccine.
Did he have a rainbow
We
mask?
will get through this. This is a tough third wave. So when you can
Tough
get your
third
vaccine,
wave.
they're safe. And
No.
I think both of us want to thank Dr.
I thought that was like a
Shadwell, the
rainbow
amazing
trans flag on her
team
mask.
here. But our
It is my pleasure to introduce.
Oh, let's
It
see
is my
this.
pleasure to introduce the future Premier of Ontario, Nate Smith.
Hoping to get him elected in Scarborough Southwest as an MPP, take the leadership of the party, kick out Doug Ford.
He is one of the brilliant and finest politician that we have.
He is humbly come here to represent you as a replacement of the
Look, he even dressed up for him.
Ned gonna come to our community. We're gonna get more support from him.
He dressed up and everything.
As a business owner also, you can see the growth in this area. He
Oh,
visited Bangladesh.
he dressed up all of it, and he still lost.
Tremendous experience. We have a direct connection to him. If we need
See what
something, we
happened.
know
This
we
is what'll
can
happen.
make direct.
They will
So we
replace
need
you.
strong leadership like
You
that
can help them,
to kick down
give them
dark
everything, and
Send
they'll
a message
replace
to
you.
everyone. We need
That's a
him in
lesson
our
from Nate.
area, also our province.
Guys, I think it's about time we have our next premier front this right. And what do you guys say?
And look, they have it in different language
It is
subtitles
my
too.
pleasure to introduce.
So yeah, Nate. Oh, come on. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. A couple interesting stories, but I'm not gonna go through everything here. Okay, so there's Aaron O'Toole. That was an oldie but a goodie, just to know who these people are. I saw this terrifying statistic. Wall Street Mav says the same thing. 97% of Indians have never traveled outside of India. So you think there's a lot here already? Imagine that. There's still a whole whack that probably would like to come here. Okay. Might as well keep going on the conservative leaders. First we saw Pierre saying everybody can come to Canada no matter who you are and do whatever they want. Then you got O'Toole with his COVID commie shit, like that he totally was into, like he was for, that he let happen until the Freedom Convoy came and run him out of town. And now we got Stephen Harper. And everybody says, well, Stephen Harper, he wouldn't have let this happen to Canada with the immigration and Indian invasion. But I'm pretty sure he would have.
Force of the future.
This is him at the World Economic Forum.
Need to raise taxes going forward. I should add, we also did not reduce immigration or give in to protectionism. Instead, we've maintained the high levels of immigration that our aging labor force of the future will require.
So yeah, all the same, all the conservatives leaders have helped get us to this
We
point.
also did not reduce immigration.
I hate when they say, "Oh, it should have been like back when Stephen Harper was premier or prime minister." No. Here's another story close to home. I found out that the Children Aid Society in Sarnia has a Indian caseworker, and it's a woman. Oh, thank God. With the Indian accent, it's hard to understand. And I already thought CAS was useless. I can't stand that organization. It's a woke, commie organization now. If you walk into CAS offices, they got the big rainbow trans flag right at the front. Like, it's weird. Now they do DEI hiring. And it's like, why? I thought that was strange for a couple reasons. First is, Is there no Canadian girl or woman who went to university or college for something like this that couldn't get hired for this? Like, what's with that? I think they're on purpose trying to hire an Indian, and maybe 2 Indians and 3, and then maybe an African and whatever. Second is the cultural differences between India and Canada. So if you're a caseworker, you're going in the house to see if there's some kind of abuse going on. You might miss certain things because you're not from that culture. So you might, you might not know what to look for, as opposed to somebody who's born and raised in Canada. Another one is the language barrier. I have a problem understanding Indians sometimes, most of the time. So a lot of the times these caseworkers have to talk to children. Do you think the children are going to understand what the hell they're talking about? The questions they're asking? So the whole thing's ridiculous. It's not just Tim Hortons. Now they're getting the jobs, the nicer jobs. Like, this is a good job with benefits, advancement possibilities, and they're giving it to Indians. It's not right. It's not right at all. I know there's girls who go to college for this stuff and who want to help children, maybe. That would be a bonus, of course. And they're not getting hired. So, very, very annoying. They shouldn't be getting hired for these jobs. I mean, it's not just Tim Hortons. They're taking the jobs at all levels. Like, I bet you'd be shocked how many are in the government, working for the government, just to meet the DEI quotas of Canada. All right. So yeah, that's Sarnia. And like, I'm nothing against her. I'm sure she doesn't want any children to get hurt. But the point is the organization. I thought they were useless before. Now I'm like, all right, they should be hiring Canadian people who understand what's going on in Canada. Maybe, I don't know. Here's Garrett Wycliffe talking about Rupert. We're just saying about conservative leaders not being, not doing anything to prevent this catastrophe in Canada. And in Europe, in UK, they have this Rupert Lowe guy who's doing Restore UK, and it's like a nationalist party, not conservative, nationalist. The conservatives in UK are getting nothing. They're done. They're a shell of a party. So this guy might do something, but I'm sure he seems pretty good, but we'll see. So they had local elections just now, and they won some seats. History made. We won 10 out of 10 seats with overwhelming majorities in every single one. Great Yarmouth first, then we restore Britain. So I think these are city elections. I'm not sure how the UK works. They weren't a general election, but they seem to have support. But Greg's saying they campaign on remigration and won. So yeah, we don't have a party in Canada that, I mean, like, that's winning, I guess. So I know PPC not getting it done, I guess. We'll see. We need a nationalist movement like in UK going. All right. Next story. This is a crazy story in Brockville. I have a friend in Brockville I'm going to have to ask him about. Police investigating the fatal stabbing of a 49-year-old mother and her 2 daughters, aged 17 and 15, at an apartment on Cartier Court in Brockville Thursday morning. A 17-year-old male in a relationship with one of the teens has been arrested and charged. So, that's crazy. That's like 3 murders. That's huge. Like, that's bad. And I've talked about this a lot, is young offenders. In Canada, we have the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and it really protects the young offender from public identification, criminal records, public records, all that stuff. Like if someone searches your background, very short sentences. And the reason they did this was, if a kid makes a stupid mistake, his life's not ruined. But This is like when you're murdering people, like some of these a lot of teen killers, they're murdering people in cold blood. I don't think the Youth Criminal Justice Act should be applying to them. So, horrible thing in Brockville. Brockville's not that big, so I'm going to have to look into that one. Here's another one. Suspects sought after Toronto Crime Watch. Suspects sought after senior citizens scammed out of $3,000 in fake bank scheme. Police in Durham region are searching, not Brampton, Durham now. They're spreading. Police in Durham region are searching for a suspect after an elderly woman was allegedly defrauded out of thousands of dollars. Okay, so victim received a phone call from a woman posing as the employee of the bank, told the victim her bank cards had been compromised. So basically they tricked an old woman into giving up all her info, and then they withdrew the money from her account. So, look at this guy. And I have a special hate for people that do this to old people. I mean, defrauding anybody's bad, but old people who are like very trusting, and because they grew up in a high trust society, it's despicable. And it's always Indian dudes calling your house, bugging you, and they know when they talk to an older person. Like when they talk to me, they know they're not going to get. So it's horrible. They should be publicly executed. People scam old people. All right. It's happening a lot too. Old people, someone calls from, they say from the bank, they trust them. All right. Tim Hortons. Boycott Tim's until they get rid of the temporary foreign workers. Companies that despise Canadians don't deserve Canadian support. Yes, I haven't been there in over 6 months. Everybody hates Tim Hortons. But, I mean, I still see people going through the drive-thru because it's convenient. But I'm sure even the ones that are going through the drive-thru have cut down on other Tim Hortons. Like, multiple Tim Hortons purchases. I know I've cut down. All right. Suspects ID'd in child alleged assault at Creepy Castle in Surrey. Yeah, Indians, of course. But they had them on tape. They didn't release their names, but yeah. We talked about that before. Look at this dude. Winnipeg man. Not a Winnipeg man. But anyway. Winnipeg man denied opportunity to write police exam over ceremonial Sikh dagger. So, they always do everything to accommodate these Sikhs, and it's still not enough sometimes. This is stupid, but the reason this is important is because they want to basically turn Canada into India, and basically they want to do everything, like, when the turbans for the guys in turbans who wanted to ride a motorcycle without a helmet, and then the RCMP guy wanted to wear a turban, and a lot of times they get accommodated, but it's never enough. It's never enough. They always they have to make sure they turn it into full India. And I was reading this, and apparently they made, I don't know what the deal is. I'm going to try and find out. When you're accustomed to pandering and preferential treatment, equality feels like oppression. I'm going to find out why. He's pissed off. Anyway, let's go. Third world Canada. Canada's sleepwalking into a completely different country. Grocery stores. Now, that's a big thing. $10 billion a year in grocery store thefts. Grocery stores now locking up meat. Employees wearing body cameras. Organized retail theft rings operating across Canada. Billions being lost every year. People used to joke about this happening elsewhere. Now it's happening in Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, and beyond. So yeah, you bring in third world population, they're going to act like third world population, stealing, grabbing whatever they can, and especially with the justice system. you're not going to get in trouble. Like, people aren't going to stop you because they don't want to get charged for assault. And by the time the cops even get called, you're gone. So, and then even if you do get collared, they don't give you any long sentence. So, yeah, third world Canada. Okay. Here, we're going to read this article on the guy. This alleged Winnipeg man denied opportunity to write police exam over ceremonial Sikh dagger. Yeah, the fact that we're putting these guys in the police force is bad enough. The fact that he wants all the rules to bend for him is bad too, I guess. But all right, Winnipeg man says he's denied opportunity to write a police recruitment exam because of restrictions tied to a religious item he's required to wear. Jaspal Singh Gill wants to become a police officer to serve the greater community. My long-standing personal goal was to join a police service because my grandfather and father were police officers back in India. Well, maybe you should be a police officer back in India. He moved to New Brunswick from India in 2021. This guy's been here 5 years and he's already trying to be a cop. Oh my God. Became a permanent resident in 2024, and he's only been a permanent resident for 2 years. Now he wants to be a cop. And then he only moved to Winnipeg last summer. Like, good luck, buddy, on that. Winnipeg's a tough town. He said he's been studying for police recruitment exams since he initially landed in Canada and jumped at the invitation to write the Winnipeg Police Service recruitment exam. But Singill said he never put pen to paper. Recruitment officer came to me and they told you have to take off your kirpan in order to take the exam. The kirpan, a sheathed dagger, is one of the 5 articles of faith in a Khalsa Sikh must wear at all times. Blade is only unsheathed for religious occasions and for cleaning purposes. We wear it to symbolize courage and our responsibility to fight against injustice. Okay, so he's told by the recruitment officers he wouldn't be allowed to write the exam unless he handed the kirpan over, so he chose to leave. My dreams got shattered. Oh my God. Can you imagine a Canadian going to India and telling him, hey man, you gotta bend the rules for my preferences. No, they tell you to fuck off. Okay. In an email, the police said an applicant was offered secure storage options for their kirpan. This option was presented respectfully and with consideration for the individual. The individual declined the accommodation and chose not to proceed. A spokesperson explained testing takes place in a secure area of the building where the WPS is responsible for the security of all candidates as well as our sworn and civilian members. They know the service welcomes applicants from diverse backgrounds and religious communities. We strive to provide reasonable accommodations wherever possible. All right. Option to securely store a kirpan for the duration of the exam has been accepted by many applicants in the past and has enabled them to complete the testing process. However, Singill said police infringed on his charter rights. Oh, God. And pointed to a 2006 Supreme Court of Canada decision that ruled banning Sikhs from carrying kirpans violates one's freedom of religion. Oh, my God. Yeah, we got to cut that one out. Anyway, this is what they do. I'm good on the Winnipeg police to tell them to fuck off. Good. Look at this guy. This is it. This is it. They don't want to be Canadian. They want to be Indian in Canada. And good for the Winnipeg police that they told him to pound sand, But look, he goes crying about it. And of course, CTV does a story. Oh, God. There's another conservative, Michelle Rimple Garner, such a fake. She was calling people racist for opposing immigration. She was bending to George Floyd and saying how whites have oppressed black people. And now she's the immigration critic. I can't stand any of these conservatives, man. And they're not conservative. They're nothing. They're just garbage.
Essentially, you're asking Parliament to give your department the power to cancel.
Why is the system in such a state of disarray? And I think it started in 2016.
So this is the conservative immigration critic that's supposed to fight immigration, mass immigration.
Not just with the change of government, but with a change of government principles and ethos towards immigration.
I'm just puzzled why you would be asking Parliament to grant you authority to cancel somebody's permanent resident visa.
And what happened in 2016 was we saw the government shift very hard on post-nationalism.
Essentially, you're asking Parliament to give your department the power to cancel people who come to
She's
Canada
a
on
bimbo,
permanent
this one.
visas.
So the concept that Canada doesn't have a mainstream identity,
You're literally saying that you're going to cancel whole groups of people's permanent residence visas?
that there's no one way to be Canadian, that
You're literally saying that you're going to cancel whole groups of people's permanent residence visas?
there's no set of unifying principles in Canadian. And I'm not making this up. I mean, you all know the famous Trudeau quote on this.
Minister next week, and somebody asked you, a Red FM panel next week, and a radio host said, who does this apply to? What would you tell the radio host?
Anyway, she's useless. She's useless. She's not. But she's the point person for the Conservatives to fight mass immigration. But they're not going to fight it. All right. Look, India, rat temple in India. I hate rats, and they better not bring the rat problem here.
It's not just any old rat, because these are actually sacred.
Because India has a huge rat problem because there's garbage everywhere. And if they make it in here into India, then we'll have a huge rat problem. And I hate rats. But they have a rat worship temple in India, which is not a surprise at all.
India's rat temple. Yeah, you heard me right. There's a temple of rats.
Welcome to Kanimata Temple, which happens to be home to over 25,000 rats. But these aren't just any old rats.
Do you know how much disease must be in that temple?
Sacred rats that aren't allowed to be killed and are actually worshipped inside this Hindu temple. Locals believe that the rats are actually reincarnations of their ancestors, which is probably why she let this rat nibble on her thumb. And as soon as I tried feeding the rat, it bit me and I freaked the heck out. What makes things worse is because we are in a temple, you have to take your shoes off on entry, which means you're guaranteed to be walking in rat poo.
I really want to respect all beliefs, but this one is a challenge. Wow.
Let's bring this to Canada. When is Canada going to get their rat temple?
Please be prepared.
It's just a matter of time.
Religious building you'll ever go in, but don't worry because apparently there's been no reports of any infection or disease coming from these rats. But I'm not sure how much I'm actually gonna believe that.
Indians have their immune system is like superhuman. If they live in India, COVID's nothing for them. They live in the rat temple. All right. So this Winnipeg man, he can pound sand. Go back to India and be a cop in India. Here's more Pierre. A dozen clips of Pierre Poilievre explicitly selling out those of us born in Canada to hordes of third world invaders. Pierre believes should be here. Encouraged to stay where employers get the cheap labor they need. Need a Restore Canada federal party. So yeah, there we go again with the Restore UK, Restore Canada. And Mark was a PPC candidate, I believe. Maybe we do need a unified nationalist alternative, like big time, quick.
Student visitor here permanently.
This is Pierre again.
Jackpot. So I want to speed up immigration for building trade workers, allow building trade unions to sponsor immigrants.
Of course.
Bring them here on work permits, and then they can become permanent residents and citizens. To get our economy firing on all cylinders, we need to quickly process economic immigration. So I would encourage those student visitors to stay in the country, and I would make the system easy and fast for them to do so. Look at one of the simplest and lowest cost ways we can have more doctors is to recognize internationally trained medical graduates.
I guess there's a lot of people expiring their visas at the end of the May, so they're going to start sending them, start calling them up and say, hey, you got to book your ticket home.
make it so
Should
that
be interesting.
employers can quickly sponsor newcomers on
The Liberals are actually harder on immigration, or at least they're pretending to be, than the Conservatives.
I'm going to back up 30,000 small study loans for those immigrants who are not quite yet at the Canadian standard, but just need to, they just need to get 2 months off work.
Yes.
A small study loan, study up, get licensed, get a huge pay raise, going from being a barista.
Will Canada
to
get a
doctor.
restore
Now they're
option?
from 30,000 to 300 grand a year.
So it will be for all professions?
That's my goal.
Yeah.
Well, we need to make it fast and simple for people who come here as refugees to get to work right away. As fast
Of course.
permits.
We need younger immigrants to stay in this country.
So, in other words, let's get the gatekeepers out of the way. Give
Oh.
our newcomers big, powerful, inflation-proof paychecks.
I'm going to allow immigrants to begin licensing before they even come here. So if you're a forthcoming immigration doctor, you're in the doctor or met a nurse, you can begin working on your license before you even get into Canada.
I want to thank the community for welcoming me in for so many wonderful Diwali celebrations
Diwali.
that have just gone by, and hopefully there'll be many more celebrations of different kinds that we can enjoy together. The Conservative Party is pro-immigration, and we want to be the party that welcomes everyone.
So yeah, he was saying this. He was saying this all the time. He's leader here. He's saying this stuff. So it's hilarious. Now he doesn't even talk about it barely. He's just a phony. Here's Mark Emery again. My local A&W had a staff lunch, and all 10 staff were from India. We had a staff lunch yesterday, and all 10 staff were from India or the Philippines. So today or Monday, we can talk to the manager and suggest that it might be good for his business and future relationship with the community if he hired some local people. And Mark's saying this in response to the unemployment numbers yesterday, where the teen unemployment rate is almost 21%. Levels historically reserved for severe economic crisis. So A&W is bad for that. Like, them and Tim Hortons. If you go to A&W, it's all like Indians working. I wouldn't eat from there, to be honest, but they're bad. Tim Hortons is bad. McDonald's is actually not bad for keeping Canadians. I think they're smart. They know it's not worth it. It's not worth destroying your business to hire Indian workers who, aren't that good. Okay. Here. Oh, look, a white dude. Man arrested after allegedly trying to lure a child into changing room stall at Brampton Rec facility. Horrible. We've got to watch our kids. It's bad enough, though. We always had to watch your kids for every predators. So why are we importing more sex pests and perverts and rapists? We already have our own. Okay. So here's this guy crying about his curb pan. Again, that was one of the stories today. He should just go back to India and be a cop in India like his dad and his granddad. And everybody would be happy. They won't be satisfied until they turn Canada into India. Okay. So yeah. The Nate Erskine thing is hilarious. It could be a wake-up call, though, for these progressive types that have no problem giving away the country, so they don't be called racist. That way they can say, hey, I'm not a racist. I'm going to let all these people into the country. And then when you lose your job, they'll be like, hey, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Next, realtor and mayoral candidate for Caledon suggests the cause and solution to rising traffic accidents is to build a new hospital. Jagdeep is the president of the Indian Overseas Congress of Canada, so he might be able to organize enough Indians to actually get elected. So yeah, I talked about this. We have municipal elections coming up, and as far as I know, I don't think there's any Indian mayors in Ontario. I don't think so, but that's going to change. I think it'll change this year. And I'm not saying the mayors we have now are pretty garbage. Not every city, but a lot of the big, like the cities, the mayor's been responsible for the destruction of the city. So I'm not saying they're awesome, but I think if the Indian ones start becoming mayors, oh my God, it's going to be like India, totally. Okay. We'll see this municipal election if they have their big breakthroughs. But if Nate's any indication, it might happen. Patrick Brown, he'll run again in Brampton, but he'll be the last white mayor in Brampton. There's Nate again. Liberals realizing that, this is a anti-boomer commenting, Liberals realizing that turning Canada into a colony of Southeast Asia will have consequences for them too. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, maybe it's a good thing they start losing their jobs. These white progressive elites who called you racist, if they start losing their jobs, they might actually figure it out. Let's see what he's saying here.
I got to talk to the team, do a full debrief with the team as to what comes next in terms of.
Poor
It's
guy.
obviously very close, and we'll see. I don't know.
How close was it? We heard 20 votes.
Yeah, it was shy of that, just shy. Yeah,
19?
Yeah,
19.
yeah,
19.
exactly.
Tough loss. That's hilarious. Here's some more reaction. Oh, I misread. Wit progressive. Oh. Liberal MP Erskine Smith loses nomination battle for provincial by-election in Scarborough riding. It's such a crazy thing that this happened, though. It really shows. There he is. Wild upset. Despite attending this event and dressing up like a Muslim, I don't know if the Bangladeshis are Muslim. They might be. Nate Erskine Smith, a seasoned federal politician, has been defeated in provincial election in Scarborough nomination election. 60% visible minority. He lost to Anne. Okay. So this is him. This is him pandering to. Yeah, it is. This is him pandering to them, and then he ends up losing.
I was reminded recently that it was in 2014,
This is a good lesson.
I think. I was 29 running in the nomination. I was showing up at Eat Prayer in Dentonia Park, and I was helping to roll out the tarps, and it's been amazing to see our Muslim community grow in the East End and grow every year. So we have thousands and thousands of folks who join.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Dentonia Park. This core message, I think, from tonight, this message of justice. Some people will see my advocacy over the years in Parliament and say, well, you're representing your community for sure, and that's part of it. When you care about justice and equality,
he dressed up
rights,
for
that
nothing.
core question of justice, but also an unwillingness to be silent, is incredibly important. These challenges around Islamophobia don't go away, and so when my colleague Ikra Khalid introduced M103, and there were far-right folks, sometimes in Parliament and outside of Parliament,
The far-right
who were
folks.
suggesting that politicians shouldn't support this, stood up and seconded that motion. When we see institutionalized hate in Quebec, in Bill 21, called out Bill 21 publicly for its blatant discrimination, and then abroad, when you see the injustice of occupation, we saw UNRWA lose its funding. I was there to say we should bring that funding back. When you see complicity, you call out for an arms embargo. There were many of us, myself included, who repeatedly called for a ceasefire and a ceasefire and a ceasefire, and eventually said enough is enough, and highlighted voices who called it out for what it is, not just a
What a pandering
violence, but also a genocide.
fool.
All of that advocacy is borne out, yes, representing my community in the East End of Toronto, but also a commitment to justice, equality, and human rights.
Oh.
Grocery store thefts on
That's
the
hilarious.
rise across.
I've been lucky to serve a really vibrant.
It's hilarious. The amount of pandering he did for nothing. I mean, he still might be the federal MP, but it's definitely embarrassing. But that's what you get. They'll dump you in no time once they get what they want from you. Which is, it's pretty predictable. It's pretty easy to see that coming, but people that don't want to be called racist will not like when they're replaced. They won't be calling anybody racist then. All right, we'll leave that on that note. Hopefully Nate's all right tonight. Hopefully he's not thinking of doing anything rash. But yeah, lesson learned, I guess. So we'll be back tomorrow night and see what's happening. I'm sure something will pop up. So until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you tomorrow.